Hello everyone. I'm Gaurav, a senior staff engineer at Uber. Today I'm going to share my insights around how you can scale yourself, or how can you become a good tech lead, or how can you execute the large scale projects. Uh, Basically, how you can master the tech leadership. So let's get started. The role of a tech lead. Uh, Being a tech lead is not just about solving the problems that are assigned to you. It is about how you can help the team to succeed. It's not about writing the code, it's making sure the others are also working with you and you are creating the corresponding environment so that they can also do their best work. So, uh, being a tech lead is about balancing the tech execution and leadership. So you need to make the decisions so that they're aligned with the business goals. So you need to make sure the team is going in a right direction with the right priorities. Think yourself as a force multiplier. Now your success is not measured by how much you work, or how much quickly you complete the task assigned to you. It is about how your team performs. So everything now becomes related to the team, not about yourself. However, the process of transitioning from individual contributor IC to tech lead is not simple. It is a tough process and it comes with its own challenges. Example, delegation or influence without authority. How you can delegate, what to delegate, and what to own. Similarly, how you can influence or work with the teams where you have no influence. It doesn't come under your director or manager. So you don't have any authority. So I will talk about all these sections in detail in future slides, but high level, becoming a tech lead is a very good progress from IC, and it's very important for building any organization as well. So let's now move to the large scale projects. Usually, executing the large scale projects involve five phases of execution. So this is what I have experienced in Amazon or Uber. So the first phase is related to defining the scope. This is, I would say, this is the most important stage, and most of the people make mistake during this stage. Defining the scope. So you need to clearly say, this is the problem I want to solve. This is in scope. This is out of scope, and this is the corresponding success metrics coming out of it. And make sure this problem is aligned with business and engineering goals. So if this step is wrong, then all the other steps will be wrong. So in my career, I have seen people making mistakes over here. They go and define the problem, but it is not very clear. And later during the implementation phase or during the production readiness, they figure out, oh my God, I missed this requirement, or this requirement is not going to work. This is, and then whatever work you have done, now it becomes a problem. So the second stage is, once you define the problem, you can break that problem into the small milestones. The good part about breaking into milestones now is you can manage those individually. This is how you are scaling yourself. So let's say if you have four people in your team, you can give these individual milestones to them so that they can scale as well, and you can also scale. And you can assign the ownership of these milestones to different individuals. Once you do that, now they are held accountable, they will also learn with it. The fourth phase is the iterate and adapt. Some of the projects we do, it doesn't go as planned. You have already seen with like working on some of the projects. So make sure you have enough buffer, or you have some plan B ready, so that in case if this fails or this doesn't work, you can immediately switch to someone else. And you will also see that sometimes the requirement also changes in the midway, especially for the startup, that or you are trying something, but after 2 months you immediately figure out that, oh, the market is changing, so I should not work on this requirement or something else. The number five is the delivery and retrospective. So once you complete the project, don't immediately move to the another project. You have to do the retrospection to figure out what went wrong or what went right, so that you can take that learning and use it for the future. So these are the high level five phases. I can explain you more from the project I have done at Amazon related to seller fees optimization. How did I solve it using these five phases? So this project was related to the optimizing the fee rate card across the different business categories. So if you have went to Amazon, you can see lot of items over there. Those items most of the time those are sold by different sellers. So Amazon take commission from those sellers so that they can sell on Amazon platform. So there's correspondingly a rate card for that commission. Example, uh, if you are selling a book for $50, then Amazon will take 15% commission out of it. So your rate card will be 15% of $50. So that is a rate card, and it is across the different business categories. But so how did we solve it? So we broke first of all, we align clearly defined the scope that I need to focus on the only the fee rate card changes, that making sure it is transparent to sellers properly, and business team can go and make those changes. So very clear scope. Then we broke the whole work into the different milestones. Example, one person is going to come with a data layer, how we can store this data in a database. The second person was responsible for coming up with the rate card model, how the rate card should look like. Similarly, the third milestone was related to building the internal tool so that business can update this configuration in a self-service fashion. The fourth was related to audit pipeline. So these are the different milestones we are created and make sure that individual person can work on it and have a clear ownership. And in between that, we were also getting some feedback from the different teams how this product looks to you. Like we have some milestones correspondingly that after 1 month, let's say we have an internal tool ready, or a part of it, we will just go and get the feedback so that we can keep on refining our solution. As a result of it, we saw the 80% reduction in the config size. Previously, the rate card config was huge, but now it is less. And correspondingly, we saw the improvement in the latency by 50% as well. Yeah, going through the large scale projects always come with some pitfalls as well. It's not like always success. So make sure you handle those. So I'm going to talk about few of them which are very common. So first one is overcommitting. Like sometimes we say that we will deliver this task in next 1 month, but it not happens. So this like we overcommit without even understanding the clear scope, or like without even knowing the ambiguity. So I would say break the problem into the small milestones, so that and clearly iterate that by 4 weeks we will do this, by 8 weeks we will do that. Correspondingly, how much design is over or how much ambiguity is that, and always add the buffer. I would say the more ambiguity is that there, you have to add more buffer. The second part is like, yeah, you don't have a good communication. So example, you have a project which is now uh, dependent on some other team. So you completed your work, but now you cannot proceed because the other team uh, has not completed their work. So it is very common when you want to build the large scale projects. Sometimes the project spans across 10 different teams, and you have to make sure that you keep a regular check-ins on with them so that everyone is on the same page. So I would say internally you should have like a stand up for your own team, but a stand up for these external teams as well on a regular cadence to know where they are, do they need any help. The third part is, as I mentioned, the plan changes. Things not always go as planned. So in that case, you should be flexible. You should have a plan B ready, and you should add buffer. The last part is the maintainability. Sometimes we make these hacky fixes just so that they can be done quickly, but it can cause a problem later. So we should make sure that I'm not saying we should always pick the long term changes. That is not going to work. We cannot keep on making the architecture changes. We need to decide how much important that task is, and correspondingly we need to immediately make the decision whether you want to do with a hacky fixes or some long term fixes. Example, let's say you have a incident going on or outage going on, and you know that by doing this flag change, which is not a right architecture decision, you can mitigate the outage immediately. So I would say let's go for that. Once that is done, once the incident is mitigated, now you can go and fixing through the right architecture. uh, so this slide is about how you should organize the task, what task you should pick. So for a tech lead, the prioritization is very, very important. It is a key factor what task to pick, what not to. So I would say focus on the high impact work, the task which can give you the maximum investment. So in our term, we say ROI, return on investment. How much return you can get by putting this much investment. Return means like some kind of a success metric for your example, revenue is increasing or what help it is providing to the business. Investment is more about like how much resources you are putting over there. So I would say whenever you pick any task, make sure you assign the proper priorities P0, P1, P2, and always ask the question like how this task is going to help our team or business. And then based on that, sort it based on the ROI and then pick the task. Similarly, you need to balance between the quick wins versus the long-term goals. Like as I mentioned in the previous slides, sometimes the small fixes can be hacky, but they can make the big improvements. And all it depends on the situation, whether you is it a outage situation or your team has some time so that it can scale for the next 2 years. So you need to make sure you balance between these two properly. But I would say long-term investments are very, very important. The third part is you need some kind of a Jira or some kind of a tool where you can manage this task properly and pick it up during the sprint planning. And then maybe once like you do the planning after every half or every quarter so that you can pick the corresponding task. So make sure you have all this backlog ready. The second part is like avoid context switching. I have seen people usually like sometimes people make the mistakes by picking up so many tasks and then they do context switching. So they work for one task for 2 hours, then immediately move to something else. So that doesn't work properly. Like the too many context switching means you are causing the problem to the entire team as well. So what we have done or what I have seen people usually do, they make some days like a no meeting days. So on no meetings, you can just focus on your task. So no context switching. Other part is not assigning more than 2 or 3 different tasks in one sprint. Sprint can be 1 week or 2 weeks depending upon how the project is going, but usually not picking up too many tasks. And again, always do the things which matter for the business. Don't just generate the metrics for the sake of generating the metrics. Yep. This is important. How to be a force multiplier means like how the impact of a tech lead is measured by how much work you do, not by how much work you do. It's about how your team is doing the work. So again, your success is through your team, not by the work you are doing. This is very important. Force multiplier, the definition is like how are you multiplying whatever work you are doing by teaching the other people as well. So in next 2 3 years you will also have the leaders like you. So what are the different ways you can be a good force multiplier? And this is a key for as you grow from junior engineer to senior engineer to principal. The this force multiplier factor becomes very, very important. Example, the senior principal engineers, they are excellent force multipliers. They don't write the code, but they make sure whatever project they are picking up, the entire they can make that thing happen through the other engineers. Like so, what are the different factors? Like mentorship is one of the great things uh, a tech lead should have. Like he should mentor people. He should teach them how can they become a good tech leads. Properly assign the task to them. The second part is good tech lead always make sure he has an alignment with the different stakeholders. Example, business, design, product managers, inch leaders, so that team can move in a right direction. So this is extremely important alignment. And the third part is uh, you need to create the environment where people can work freely. Like they you are not doing micromanage. The moment you start doing micromanagement, people will not like it. The people like the engineers, they will be like, oh, this leader is not helping me grow. He's like always keep on asking the status. So you need to make sure you give them the time so that they can learn, they can experiment without doing a micromanagement. But I'm not saying you should not even ask any question to them. So you should make a process that maybe once a week or depends upon how critical that project is. You are checking the status, building the confidence, so that people are coming to you and saying that I need this help rather than you asking them. So a great tech leads don't just work; they make the whole team stronger. This is very very important line. They are not like do the things that are assigned to them. They make the whole team good. Uh, the next part is the delegation. So as a tech lead, you should be a master of delegation. And again, delegation is not like, oh, some manager assigning you the task. You pick that task and assign it to the two other people who are junior to you in the team. This is not how delegation works. So delegation means uh, you take some task, figure out what is the right piece I can assign to different people depending upon their level or their experience. So what to delegate and what to own. You can delegate the clear or more repeatable tasks which are simple to execute and that can help them grow. And from owning the part, you can own the big decisions or the technical vision. So I can give you one example. So let's say you have some project where which requires, so it's a very big project. So SD1, so senior software one, you can give a project which is related to mostly coding. For software two, you can give the project which involves some design but no cross team communication. And you can own the design and the overall design plus the cross team communication. So this way you assign the right responsibilities to right people and making sure the SD1s and SD2s are mostly focusing on the coding and the smaller design. But as they grow, you can start assigning more complex work to them. But this is how the delegation works. um, Again, when you want to delegate, make sure you just not assign the task to them. You give them the proper context, that this is the task you have to do, this is related to this business impact, so that they will also start learning about the success metrics and what how this task is related to business. And again, don't do micromanagement. People will not like it, so you need to make sure you somehow building the trust within the team so that they can share the status with you, or they but don't poke them on every, like I have seen sometimes leaders who are not good, they just keep on asking the status, or what are you working on every day, or within a day two times as well. So this is not a good way of delegation. Tech leaders never do that. They trust their people, they make them grow, and they trust their judgment. um, Being a tech lead is not just about looking for what is going to happen today. They are more like future looking. So they want to know what kind of things we need to do to scale the team and technology for the next few years. So usually they make two kind of plans. For in a 1 year, they build a strong foundation where they align the technical work with the business goals. They make the very clear processes for the efficiencies. They invest in engineering best practices. Example, they make sure the team bar in coding is good. For outages, they have a proper process to understand why this outage happens, how can we reduce that. They like different kind of processes. They have a proper sprint planning. They make sure they are investing in people growth as well, like learning the new technologies and more kind of a talks technology talks within the team, so that people are learning from that. And they also invest in mentorship. For the 3 year plan, like how you want to scale your company for the next 3 years, you need to make sure you have to scale the technology and leadership. Technology means like you should know that what is going to happen in the market, you are up to date with the future trends and correspondingly updating your stack and technology. And leadership means you have to make sure that someone like you or better, you are making it in the next 3 years. You cannot scale yourself again. So you need to make sure in the next 1 year or 2 year you have two more people like you whom you can grow. And now they will and similarly you will also grow, so that's how the whole company will grow. So you need to shift your focus from doing more hands-on work like coding and all to more leading the multiple teams. You need to keep updated with the industry trends. Again, mentorship is very important, and you need to correspondingly check the team structure. What are the key decisions that every tech lead should make? First of all, the right abstractions. Make sure your system is very simple, modular, and scalable. Uh, a simple thing I use to know whether my code is complex or not is usually see how easy is to write the unit test cases. The moment my unit test cases become complex, I am mocking so much stuff, then immediately I go out of it. It's not good to write such complex unit test cases. So that is one simple way to do that. But make sure your classes are modular, means like they only have a single point of responsibility with small structure, rather than writing 500 lines code base that nobody will understand in future. The second part is speed and scalability. It depends on what project or what field you are in. So for example, startup can optimize for speed, but larger companies focus more on stability. When I say speed, so you do something which is very fast, in the sense like you use the technology which is new but cannot scale too much. Let's say you use some kind of a queue which can scale only for 1 million users but not for 1 billion. But for a company like Amazon, they care more about like how they know their customer base is already huge, so they need to focus more on the stability first, and that can take time launching that thing. But for startup, they wanted to do quickly, get some customer feedback so that they can keep on change. It is in the new phase completely. So you should know when to shift the priorities. And even for companies like Amazon, like they can start if they are starting some greenfield project or some new project, and they want to get some customer input, they can focus more on the speed rather than stability. It all depends on what project you are picking up. For risk management, it is one of the other key decisions. So you need to know what kind of risk can happen if you do this project. So you should be aware of that, so that in case in future if it happens, you can make the decision to go back or use the plan B. And I think I already called about the hacky fixes. So it depends on the situation, but you should try to avoid it. For the future problems, you should focus more on the solid architecture. This is the area. Influence without authority means like you are working across the different teams where you have no authority. They don't come under your manager or senior manager. So how can you work with them? How can you make the things happen? I think the most important thing is the trust. The better the trust is, the better they will work with you. So it's not about the position. It's not like you are senior person, so they will work with you. No, it's more about the trust, and they trust your decision making capability. So frame your decisions more in terms of business terms. Example, this project will reduce the latency by 50 milliseconds, instead of saying this will reduce the latency. So more say this word 50 milliseconds, which are very important. Balance the perspective from different stakeholders, and again make an environment where people can work and they feel that this project is related to us, not like so even though other team can also understand this project is important for us, not only that particular team. So, example for a service migration at Amazon, we were doing this migration, but we have to work across the 5 different teams who were using the data. So we clearly told them, if you work with us and then use this new model, which is a small change in your code base, but still need prioritization, you can gain the accuracy by this much percentage. And they were okay with that. They like that idea. And then finally, we worked with them with the regular checking. So this is how we you can influence without the authority. But it is very important as you grow, that you cannot just focus on the projects which are related to your team. The projects span around 10 different teams and they don't come under your director or manager. So you need to make sure you have a very clear uh, you should have a very clear understanding of how we can do that. Yeah, but the first two lines are very important: the business terms and the trust. The this is related to the crisis management. What happens if the things goes out? If they are not working properly, then again stay calm. Don't be like, okay, oh, what should I do? What should I do? Just clearly assess. Okay, is this urgent? What is the problem? Should I go for a long term or a quick fix? As I mentioned in the outage, sometimes it's better to go for a short term fix immediately to mitigate it, and for later you can go for architecture change or some long-term solution. So It can happen, but don't panic. I would say clearly communicate with your stakeholders that this situation has happened. So we will do a proper retrospective. But meanwhile, these are the three different solutions we have with these timelines. So let's discuss what we can do to solve this crisis. And make some decisions, not always go for a perfect solution. Everyone likes perfect solutions, but that's not the case. Like again, you have to check the ROI. Sometimes doing only 80% of the project, no 80, sometimes even doing like 80 20-30% of the project gives you a lot of benefits, so you want to go for that thing rather than just solving the problem 100%. Because like even in the databases you cannot fix everything, like you cannot have all the consistency availability. So you need to make sure you pick the task or the pick the part of the project which can give you maximum ROI, get some feedback and then move on. uh, this is the last thing, like closing and QA. High level, we talked about the tech lead, how can you become a good force multiplier, how you can delegate the task, and how the tech lead is your responsibility to make sure you have 1 or 3 year plans which are aligned with business. So, and we also learned like how we can influence without the authority. Yep, I think that's all.